we go. Trying something out new. Hello, 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 Reiki Studio. Give me just a moment here, and I want to welcome you. I would like to welcome you to. Let's get a little less blurry here. Take a couple deep breaths. Maybe it's just going to make me a little fuzzy today. Boy, maybe it's the sound healing. What's all going on? But here we go. All right. So thank you for joining us today. My name is Kathy Milanowski, and I am your moderator and host for today's episode and the past. Reiki Studio was designed by me to encourage, refuel, refresh your life journey. Just whatever it is, help you shine through, and let it be contagious. And today, in this month of December, we're doing sound healing. Sound healing has been a beautiful art that has been passed down for quite a few years for me, but it's been here since the beginning that we know of. And so we have some lovely panelists today that they're going to help you through this journey of ours. We're going to be doing this all month. We're going to be going out and putting out articles and things for your sound healing education and just enjoyment on the 27th of December at 6 p.m. Central Time. We're going to go a little bit more in depth with sound healing, and it's going to be a very fun episode. But we're going to go to this episode with these lovely speakers. So let me get this together and just give a moment. Something just happened. Sorry. Here we go. Thank you for bearing with me, guys. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining. Thank you. Thank you. The first speaker that we're going to talk to, panelist, is Dana. Dana Bartlett. She's going to talk about just the basic fundamentals of sound healing. Are you with us, Dana?
I'm here.
Thank you. There we go.
Are you ready for me?
I'm ready for you.
Okay. Sound is everything in our lives from the times of antiquities. We know that they've used sound for healing because it's on hieroglyphics in the walls and on clay tablets that they found, digging in caves and stuff. So, you know, why does sound or why does music not just uh when we hear it, it affects our whole body. You know, if you are in a bad mood and you put on music, it can change your whole mood. It changes your whole perspective. So we don't just hear the music, we feel the music. The music, we can feel the music. It comes in through our ear. And when it's a sound, it's not a steady flow like we think we hear it. It comes like this and thumps. So when it's doing that, it's going into your ear. It's going to hit the little hairs inside your ear. It's going to turn into the brain. It's going to turn into electrodes, and it's going to go to the brain. And then the brain is going to send it throughout your whole body. And it's going to send it to every single cell in your body. So every cell in your body feels sound. And sound is it's our primal as a human being. It's the first thing that we learn. It's our most primal feeling. The fetus is born, it's conceived. The first sensory organ that comes to that fetus is the ears. And when you're inside the womb, it's like everything is muffled because you're in the amniotic fluid. So everything is going kind of sound. And so that's the first thing your ears develop, and you listen to the sound. That's where the sound om comes from. You hear people talk about Mother Earth. It's like the sound comes from Mother Earth. And when you hear the sound, listening to sound, it's affecting our alpha, our theta, our data, or beta waves in our body. So the alpha is like and I'm speaking to this on a healing level. When you're working with somebody in the alpha phase, there's somebody that's wide awake. Like we're wide awake right now. We're very calm, very passive, and we're in learning mode right now. And that when you work with somebody like a therapist, they're working with somebody in the alpha brain waves. That's your brain. That's where you are working with somebody on an awakening level. If you go to your doctor, they're working, talking to your communication. That's relating on an alpha wave. Okay. So the other way that we're going to heal somebody is in the theta brain wave. And what the theta brain wave does, that is like when you get in your bed at night and you're asleep, but you're still awake, like you can hear sounds, but you don't have enough consciousness to react to the sounds, but you know it's still going on. That's kind of that's the level between your subconscious and your conscious. That is the very most profound place to heal the body. That that is where you're will not necessarily heal like wounds and stuff, but that's where you're learning like that your body is the theta phase is where you're at when you're from like 1 to 7 years old, and it's called the tape recorder phase because you don't know anything to talk back, so you're just taking it all in. And so when you're in theta, when you're doing Reiki on somebody, let's say, they're kind of conscious, but they're not conscious when they get on the table. You put them in their spot. They're still awake, but they're very meditated, like relaxed. So that's working on the theta stage. And this is where you're going to get your mental growth if you have issues with trying to quit things or stuff like that. That's where you want to be. And then, then you have your delta Wayne Braves. And when you go to Delta brain waves, this is where you're in a meditative state. Like you see people meditating, they're really deep into it, or what they call a sleepless, dreamless sleep. You're sound asleep, but you're not dreaming. This is the point where your body is going to heal. This is where your cells regenerate. That's why they tell you it's so important to get a good night's sleep. Because if you don't sleep and shut the body down consciously, then the body doesn't heal. So people that are sick, you've all had the flu, and when you don't feel good, you just want to crawl in your bed and sleep. And the body does that because that's when the body regenerates. The body cannot regenerate. I mean, it's constantly regenerating, but it's also concentrating on, should I go to the grocery store? Did I pick the kids up? Did I make the bed? These types of things. So it's not concentrating on healing. So when we go to sleep or we get in these meditative states, the body is not concentrating on the laundry or does the yard need cut. It's concentrating strictly on healing. So we want to go to these states and so that our bodies can heal. And so that's how, as sound healers, you want to bring these noises, these sounds, even your voice, the music that you play, all of these things affect the healing of the body. And the Greeks, they believed you healed the body by healing the emotions. The Chinese people believed you control the population by listening to controlling what they can and cannot hear. And then even back in time when the Catholics dominated the world, they put a stop, they banned all music. And at that point in time, when they banned the music, is when the Dark Ages came. Now, I can't prove that that's why the Dark Ages came, but that's my theory. There was no joy, it was strictly boom, boom, boom. And so, but when you want to heal the body, You heal the body through sound. And there's different ways of sound, and there's different types of sound. If you're in a good mood, you can listen to whatever makes you happy to put you in that good mood. If you're really sad, somebody you love passed away, you might put on music that reminds you of that person. So that touches that emotion in your body. And sound affects our emotions. We are the emotions that have built up from the sound that we've heard our whole life. Our emotions come from what we hear. So we have ladies here today that are going to talk to you about sound. And, when you say sound, we say harmony. When you're in harmony with the world and all is right, you're not getting sick. Your body is well, you're happy, everything is good. So when your body's in disharmony, that's when sickness sets in. Now, it may not show up for 10 years from now. But if you stay sad and depressed and bring it down, you need to do things to bring joy to your life. If it's nothing but listening to classical music, I mean, the amount the instruments play such an effect on our body. I was going to play this little video song for y'all. I don't know if you can hear it. Do you hear that? That's a harp. Can you hear me talking to? That's a harp. In ancient times, they built buildings out of stone so that the music resonated with every room. Each room, they did everything based on sound, everything that they did. Every room was made to a certain size to resonate a certain sound. So, like if you walk in your house, let's just say, like my bathroom's all tile. So if I walk in my tile bathroom and I go starting real deep, and keep going up higher and higher and higher and higher on the scale, the sound that comes back to you off your wall, that is your resonant sound of that room. So, and sound also relates to color. Every color has a sound. Okay, so if you think that it, like red is the sound C, okay, or green is the note F. So if you want to heal people with sound, what you have to do is say, okay, like if you look at a color wheel, opposites in sound healing cancel each other out. Okay, so if your color wheel is red and you look at the opposite of red, it's going to be green. Okay, and the notes for that are C and F. So if you want to cancel out someone who's red, so they're mad at the world, they're not grounded, they've lost it, they're out here in Lululand because they are so mad they can't even find themselves. They're in that root chakra really bad. And what cancels that root chakra fears out is going to the opposite side of that color wheel, to the opposite sound, which is the green, which is the heart. So you would take those two sounds and play them to bring you out of that. Does that make sense? Opposites cancel each other, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But so I hope that helps y'all a little bit. I'm gonna let I think Tanis is next, and they're gonna go into more details about the way different sounds affect you and all. But I hope that gives you a little basic understanding. Kathy.
Yep, you got it. Thank you so very much, Dana. And Tennis is up next, and she's going to be talking about discovering and using sacred sounds all around you. You know, we have it all around us, even nature. So I'm going to let her talk about it and let her go through. Thank you so much, Tanis. Thank
Thank
you.
you for having me, Kathy. It's wonderful to be in such a great group of people. Um, yeah, so Dana spoke about a few of the things too that I'm going to bring forward in terms of the musical notes and the colors, because our colors all match up with our chakras as well. So when we're treating the different chakras, we're treating them with color, we're treating them with sound. And so we use that when we're doing things for the healing for sound as well. So I want to take a step back here and just look at some of the things that are just in our environment. When we look around, when we listen around, we can actually get healing from just the things that are in our environment. When you step outside and you think about all of the different elements that are out there, if you can sit and listen to the wind, for instance, it has healing. When you sit and listen to the waves of the water, it has healing. When you sit and listen to the crackling of a fire, it has healing in it. Or the rustling of the leaves in the earth, right? Even crystals actually have a vibrational tone to them. And so when we look at those four elements in nature, they give our body the ability to change. When you have alchemy, you're bringing all four elements together to create a change with energy. So by bringing those elements in terms of sound as well, you're able to create that change. So that's more of the sort of nature-based sounds. There's also things like all of the animal sounds. If you go outside and you're listening to the birds, they have their own tones, and each one has its own healing effect. Dolphins and whales are obviously too very sound-based. You can get the music and play the music of the sound of the whales and the dolphins talking, and it has its own comfort. They're very communicative. They're all connected, and there's a lot of like consciousness, group consciousness with the cetaceans, and they really bring that healing. They connect with us on that deep level, and it's through their sound that they do this. So there are a few things that we can do around even on your own that can help you with your own healing. So things like nature walks, of course. You can listen to music on the internet. I do caution people, I do prefer that you listen to the piece ahead of time in that awake state that Dana was referring to, before you jump in and listen to it in that theta state, just to make sure that you're comfortable with whatever it is that the effect is, because it is affecting your body. I'm going to pull up a thing on my screen now just to show you, because there's music called solfeggio frequencies on the internet. And you'll find these in various places, most like YouTube, there's tons of them. And this just shows you how the different hertz on each of them, they're usually put up as hertz. So if you have different things that you're trying to, a change that you're trying to create some healing for yourself. If you look at the benefits of these different hertz, you can see that there are numerous benefits to these. Each one of them is related to chakras, as we mentioned. The most common one that you hear about, I would say, would be 528. And that one actually brings healing down at like a cellular level. So it's amazing the difference that it can make, not just with your emotions, but also physically. Okay, so you can get that through solfeggio frequencies is what it's called. And there's all kinds of stuff on YouTube. So when you get into those frequencies, we can look also, sorry, I'll just pull up my next one here. Okay, so this is the other one. So Dana was talking a little bit about the colors, and she was mentioning the different notes that go along with it. So right here, you can see the notes of the scale.
Tanis, I can't see it.
Oh,
You
can
may
you
have
not?
you may have to stop the share and share again.
I am so sorry. Thank you for letting me know. That's awesome. There. We're good now? Awesome. So yeah, so you can see here, we've got all of the notes of the scale along the side, along with the chakras. And also these are the basic areas that you focus on with the different chakras. So it's amazing to look at that and the difference that it can make, because the chakras, of course, are related to all different areas of your life, whether it's there's physical, emotional, spiritual, energetic. So it really does have such a wide range of healing. I wanted to bring up too I don't know if you guys are familiar with Masaru Emoto. He did a study in water and the effect of various elements on water. So when he did this study, he took polluted water from a dam, and he took one sample and just froze it the way it was. Then he took another sample and he took it and had it prayed over by monks. So then he looked at them both in a microscope to see what the difference would be. It was amazing, the difference. The one that was polluted was very much like a globular looking mess. The one that had been prayed over by monks was very much a beautiful crystalline structure. So they ended up taking this a little bit further and looking at the effect of music. So I'm just going to share my screen again here. And you can see here on this screen, right? You can see that? Yeah, okay. Yeah. Awesome. So you can see here, this is all distilled water, but it's had these different things exposed to it. So you can see this would be the heavy metal music. You see, it's not that crystalline structure. So that wouldn't lead, and we're 80% water, right? So when we're 80% water, we have to realize that this is going to have an effect on our physical body as well as our emotions. So this would be like the heavy metal music. That's what it does to water. Folk music, like a dance music, looks like this. And then the Beethoven, so your classical, would look more like this structure. And then this is the crystal for love and appreciation. So you can see how music really affects us down to the cellular level, because our body carries fluid and water in our cells. So that's the effect that has. So I brought a couple of tools out I didn't talk to you as well about during the solfeggio music, oftentimes they'll have the binaural beats. And in the binaural beats, it's really an important thing to have headset on, because they actually play different notes in each side. And it's actually the note when they meet that becomes the healing note. It also creates that resonance between the two sides of the brain. So it helps to create a sense of calm. So I brought a few things out that I use myself. So one of the things we can use is tuning forks. Now I realize you won't hear those on the net because it's quite quiet, but you can actually get a set somewhat like this, which actually has all the different chakras. This one here is the 528 that we were talking about. And then these are all the different chakras. So if you're having trouble with a specific chakra, you can actually use these on yourself in your field. And this one works with the aura. And I think Dana has the other set, which is actually works on the physical body. Excuse me. Dana, would you mind showing us the other set, please?
That's these kind, the weighted forks.
That's awesome. So hers, you'll see, are in the chakra colors as well. Thank you.
So to be clear, so Dana, do that again. So the ones that she has, because I used to wonder what's the difference. So you actually put that one on the body,
that's
but
right.
The ones that Tanis has,
they're going through the aura.
You kind of wave like this through the energy field.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. The other tool I wanted to show you is this one. So this is a pan drum. And you can hear this one, I believe, a little bit, and it has all the different notes on it. So we can run through the chakras with it. So that would be your root, sacral, solar plexus, heart, throat chakra, third eye, and your crown. So you can use instruments like this as well to do it on your own when you're doing that. So I just wanted to share some of those little tips with you in terms of, just going to put the other screen on again, in terms of what you can do just around your house, right? Listening to really good quality music helps to really heal that water, right? Looking at things in terms of pulling out specific notes when you're struggling in an area. All of those things are all a great way to use sound healing in your life. Okay, thank you. And I think we're going to hear from Karen next.
Yes, we are. We're going to hear from Miss Karen. And she's going to talk about chanting and toning. Your body is your instrument. So thank you so much, Karen, for joining us.
Yeah, this is really fascinating. So, so really, I'm going to talk to you about like really basic stuff. Like if you don't have any instruments, if you have no crystal bowls, you have no tuning forks, you have nothing, but you do have your voice, which that is the basic. And I'm actually going to talk about 3 different things you can do with your body as your instrument, which sounds a little weird, but okay. So the first thing is simply humming. And I linked an article in the event. You may be familiar with Jonathan Goldman's Reiki chants. I linked an article about that with chanting. I'll talk about in a second. And then another article where Jonathan Goldman and some of his colleagues, they did a scientific experiment where simply humming, just creates nitric oxide in your nasal passages. Which is like, great, what's that? It's not like it starts like oozing out of your nose or anything, but nitric oxide is an antiviral chemical. So actually humming will improve your immune system, if nothing else, in that way. And then also emotionally, when you think about what do mothers do? What do mothers do when they're holding their babies? A lot of times they're humming. We just instinctively do that as a sort of a self-soothing. And so I'd like you to try this. This is a little bit of the practical application. You've got your nose, you've got your air. Also think about like breath. So take a deep breath, and I want you to hum an M sound. Just you panelists can do it as well. Just kind of and see, where do you feel that in your body, and how does it make you feel? Dana, you're not muted. How does that make you feel?
Oh,
No, I just
feel it in my nose and in my belly.
Isn't that weird? And how does it make it makes me feel really just calm as a toad. I don't know. It makes me really calm. Okay, now I want you to sort of hum, now this is a voice sound. I want you to do a V sound. I can't do that very long. What does that feel like? Kathy, how does that feel?
It was more, the other was more internal. This one was internal, but it was a little bit more because of the V, my breath. So I felt my breath like vibrate over my face and tickled.
I know. So, yeah. So, okay, honestly, so I could have hummed like a sound when I want to calm down, and I will do like a sort of like when I need to. It makes me laugh. It really does. It makes me giggle. It really does. So I'm glad that you confirmed that. It's not just me. Okay, try like an N sound. See how that's different. You'll have to put the tip of your tongue right behind your teeth on the alveolar ridge, kind of like. How is that different from say? Anybody, Tanis? How does that feel to you? The N.
It's a higher tone, so I feel it a little bit higher in the body than the
It's
N.
yeah, it's almost like a up in here sort of a.
Here, yeah,
And doesn't, like Dana said, the M she felt here, but she also felt it down in her belly.
that's yeah,
So,
yeah.
so, so the thing about humming is, it's something that you can do. You can do that while you're cleaning. You can do it, all the time. You probably should be humming. It's a way of kind of aligning, also like keeping this throat open, and your whole body. So that's the first thing you do, hum. And you know that it might be helping you, create antiviral, in your nasal passages. And I keep thinking about the coronavirus, y'all. Seriously. I mean, that's where we bring it in. So flus, all of those things. So yeah, hum. Secondly, chanting. So the study I referenced a second ago, they did a study with people's blood. So they took that Reiki chants, it's just people chanting the Reiki symbols. How many of you have that CD, that Jonathan Goldman, or you've heard it probably? So the man who did the study, he said, I suspected there was some sort of healing quality to it. So they took vials of blood, same blood, and they put it into 2 different rooms, same temperature, blah, 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 carefully controlled. And the blood that got no sound at all, compared to the blood that they played the Reiki chants to, had fewer red blood cells. So it increased the red blood cells. You can read the whole study. Basically, what they suspect is that something about the vibration of those chants, those healing chants, increases the wall. So you can have red blood cells in 3 different phases. 1, they're perfectly healthy, strong outer wall. 2, they're in transition, and their wall's about to break down, and then the 3rd, they're dead. So they suspect that those healing chants strengthen that wall. So anyway, so after just 20 minutes, and chanting, Jonathan Goldman says, with humming and chanting, any toning, any of that stuff, you should probably do it for like 5 minutes. Try this. We don't have time to do it here, but try like humming or chanting or toning. I'm gonna tell you the difference in a minute. For like 5 minutes, and then spend 5 minutes in silence. And that makes a big difference. It's almost like when you plop something into the water, and you can, because I'm very visual, I can see that ring kind of spreading out. After you stop humming or chanting or toning, just sit there with it, and you'll feel. It's almost like like music. You need those quiet spaces between the notes, or you don't have music. So practice that. For chanting, I grabbed this. I thought, okay, I think since we're supposed to keep the Reiki symbol secret, and who knows who's going to see this, this is a really common. How many of you know this? Om Mani Padme Hum. And when I didn't know it at first, and I knew it meant, behold, the jewel in the lotus. And I thought, okay, I don't know what that means, but of course, the Southerner in me, Dana, you'll relate. I'll be like, okay, so I guess there's a big old diamond in that lotus or something. I had no idea. But I watched a video where the Dalai Lama was answering a question. One of his students said, I know I'm supposed to chant this, but I don't, and I know how it makes me feel, but what does it mean? Can you please explain what the meaning of this chant is? And he said, I love the Dalai Lama. He's like, oh, very good. Yeah. So he said basically this. He said that the or it's really like 3 sounds, those 3 separate sounds. He said that represents like the lower parts of the human being, the physical, the mind, which is lower than spirit, right? The physical, the mind, and speech. Or you might, look at those 3 things. So it's like, look at these 3 parts of me that need to be transformed. Mani, means like a many-faceted jewel. He said what that stands for is altruism. You know, like doing kind things for people, altruism. And he said that's on one side. He said, and then Padme, he said that is the lotus flower. He said that stands for wisdom. And hum is the two coming together. So he says what this means is when you chant, and chanting is like shorter, you're forming words, but you're not really like holding the vowels. You're just, it's almost like speaking. So he says you're saying these three things, mani padme hum. So what you're thinking there is, oh, my body, my speech, my mind, let it be altruistic and wise. Bring those two together. Bring the wisdom and the altruism together through me. So it's like, oh, okay. And that's important. And it's good that his student asked that, because Jonathan Goldman says that when you are chanting, he said, okay, chanting, the purpose of this, besides, you know, how it affects your body, or like Tanis was showing, like how it affects the water and all of that, is that it's manifesting, it's bringing things into life. He says that visualization, like what you're picturing while you're chanting, plus vocalization equals manifestation. So that is that's why it's healing. Or another way he puts it is, instead of visualization, vocalization equals manifestation, he says, oh shoot, I forgot it. Intention and vibration equals healing. There, thank you. Intention plus vibration equals healing. Yes, yeah, like almost like spells. I'm a former college English professor, and I used to talk about the act of writing something down. You know, that's why we spell words. You know, that's sort of magical, but actually bringing it into existence, like Dana was talking about at the beginning. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. And God said, you know, so he speaks things into existence. And so if you want to go Christian with it and say, if we are made in his image, then that's what we do. We create with our voice. And so that's why that's so important. So just, you could practice that. Om mani padme hum. Just try that. Here, I'll hold it up. So those of you at home can play along. Okay, try it. Just try. Om mani padme hum. So many ma sounds in there. Om mani padme hum. I promise you, if you just do that for 5 minutes, your whole, well, literally, your body will change, like Dana said, right? Or like Tanis was saying, your body will change. So this is something you can do for yourself. Of course, if you are chanting over someone, now here's the difference between chanting and toning. Let's say maybe you're doing Reiki symbols. I'm not going to say them out loud, but maybe you're chanting the power symbol. Hear that for a second in your head if you have Reiki. Okay, so maybe you're chanting that out loud. It's going out sort of like a mist. So chanting has sort of like a mist effect when you're chanting out loud. And if you're working with a client or you're working with yourself, it sort of encases you like a mist. Of course, if you're doing it, I mean, for someone else, you're still getting that experience of the vibration all the way through your body. Toning is a little different in that you're really holding the vowels. And as far as healing goes, so if I'm chanting over someone, I'm like sending it into their auric field. I'm sending that energy into their auric field and let it go where it needs to go. Toning, it's a little weird. Of course, I mean, that train left a long time ago. If I've run across a block in someone's energy field, I will sort of direct with my Reiki hands and my voice, direct it toward a specific area. Like maybe their heart has got a big block in it. So instead of Om Mani Padme Hum, I'm going to focus on that. That's just Om. So that's toning. Toning is gonna, can you feel the difference maybe when I do that? So chanting is like more, and it's almost too intense to tone. And frequently I'll have people burst into tears. If I do like especially like a Reiki, um, maybe like some of the Karuna symbols or something, like just one of those, especially you're holding the vowel. So if you're just holding that, oh, I mean, for long enough, it's like a release, and they'll cry because they feel it release. It's okay, now this is sort of a negative thing, but I think about how the military uses sound. I mean, that's the downside, but they use it in warfare. Well, we saw pictures, thank you, Tanis, of like what heavy metal music does to water. And so sound can be misused that way. But if you have the intention, it's all about the intention. We Reiki practitioners, we say that over and over, but it's the intention while you're making the sound. That's what it's going to carry. So, so humming, and practice like with different tones also, like just play around. It's like it's a pandemic. We're kind of on lockdown. What else are you gonna do? Just sit around and hum. Can't hurt. And then chanting. Like I said, your circle of friends will get smaller and smaller. But hey, that's why Kathy made Reiki Studio for us. Thank you. And then the chanting. Play with that. Find something and chant it over and over and over, and just see what kind of experience you have. I wouldn't do it for longer than 5 minutes, though. I really wouldn't. And toning, just hold those vowel sounds with, maybe direct it to a particular part of your body. Like maybe it's an E. Yeah. So I hope that's helpful and beneficial. And if you don't have like those beautiful instruments, which I love, 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 always remember, like you can hum and chant and tone wherever you are, any time of day. I mean, they could lock you up in prison and you can still do that. I mean, it's amazing. Do you guys have were there any questions?
Nope. I think they're all taking it in, Karen. Taking it in. I know when I'm like I don't have anything with me and I feel like someone I'm by or a situation or whatever is going on, and I actually will clap my fingers. I'll put Reiki in my hand, boost it up, and I'll just start going over the body, and I'll feel an echo. It's sound, and I'm feeling that echo go through. So sound is wonderful. So very wonderful. Thank you, Karen. Thank you very much. So yeah, sound is great. You could start working. Karen gave you a little bit of work you guys could do, and A-E-I-O-U, A-E-I-O-U, just simple things like that, and start feeling in your body and just experience it. You're a great network of energy, and it's great to feel the harmonization and what's coming through. Yeah.
You're a symphony. You're a symphony walking around on two legs. You really are.
Yes. Well, thank you, Amy and Christine. Christine asked about the drum, and in tennis, it's called a pan drum, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and where can you get something like that?
You can. I think my husband got me that one on the internet.
On the internet.
Yeah, but there's also different kinds too. So you can get one like that. There's also the traditional ones that you can get that are actually made out of the old drums. They're very, I think they use them a lot in the Caribbean for Caribbean music and stuff, but they're all the notes, right? So it's the same kind of concept. So yeah. The other thing that came to mind was that, if we question the intensity of sound and how it can affect things, we just think about high pitched sound can smash like a crystal glass, right? So it can be quite intense. So when Karen was talking about the Om Mani Padme Om, I actually use that in healing, because you can actually create a ball. If you do that as you're tone that or chant it while you're creating an energy ball, the ball gets really large and intense, and you can actually send it into someone's field for healing. So that was something that came up while you were speaking.
That's awesome.
Thanks, Kim.
Thank you. So Amy has a question. She says, I noticed when I talk to some people, pain erupts out of my body. So when you talk to people, Amy, pain erupts out of your body. Is that a question or just a statement kind of deal? We'll give her a few minutes to come through. Kumad is here and she says she has a drum and she says, thank you. And Kelly says, thank you. And I used to do toning and need to get back to it again. So maybe you guys get the inspiration on that and going through. I mean, there's just so many interesting instruments you can use. It's endless. Use your imagination. You know, you can use your fingers. You can use whatever makes sound. You know, your tongue, your mouth.
Yeah, move your tongue around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
You know, maybe Amy, I love this book, this Freeing the Natural Voice. This is from theater training that I had 40 years ago. And something that jumped out, she said, she was talking about print, you know, now that we are a literate society, well, maybe we're going backwards. I don't know. It could be a good thing. But she said there's no knowing how much our Western voices have been conditioned by print over the last few hundred years of relatively widespread literacy. It's not hard, however, to imagine that too much reliance on silent printed communication deprives the voice of nourishment. And then she says, the spoken word is oscillating, transitory, and free to move on the waves of sound. Sound waves actively affect the body that generates them and varying parts of the body that receives them. So depending on what the person is saying or the intent behind their words, that may, if it's something soothing, that may cause, I'm just, Amy, offering this up. Maybe it's causing something to release, like pain to release, or I think that's why my second love language, my first one is touch, and my second one is words of affirmation. And when someone says something negative, violent, denigrating to me, it physically hurts, even though they're not hitting me. The words hurt because it's, I think, the intention behind it. So it could be either of those two things. I'm just throwing that out there for Amy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is an energy felt by words. You know, I've experienced that too, Karen, that when, you know, something comes at you with a certain energy in their voice, you can actually feel it in your
it hurts
field, right? It physically can hurt that way.
Mm-hmm. And it's not necessarily the meaning of the word, it's the energy in the words, in the sound of the
tone. It's the tone.
The tone. Watch your tone, young lady. Yeah,
exactly.
Exactly.
Yes.
Sometimes it's, you know, it's, Amy, there's times I've had in my journey of healing, it's my sacral, my throat, and things that developed it. And my sacral would hurt me when I spoke, literally, because just it was something maybe was blocking, it wasn't harmonized, it wasn't flowing, things weren't flowing, and it literally physically hurt me. I would sit there and put Reiki on me all the time. I'm putting my hand on my tummy and just all around me. And I had to really go through that discovery of what was going on. And I knew I was on my healing journey. So sometimes it's outer and sometimes it's inner. It's just the flow of your energy kind of gets restricted and it could get very painful. You know what I mean? It could be painful physically. It could be painful emotionally. Like some people, when they talk, they cry. They don't know why. and they know that it's a healing thing. It's not like a blissed out, you know, there's something going on that it's coming out. So to release a little more, you could talk a little more, you know, you're healing that. So there's times that you could look at it that way too, but it's kind of like you're going to have to go inside when that pain's there and work with the Reiki. You know, I know you have Reiki. Work with the Reiki and see where it leads to you. Is it going to be outer? Is it inner? Is it both? And then ask Reiki, how do you work with this? How can you be harmonious with your throat so you can talk and express yourself in a beautiful, organic way that you like, you feel comfortable with? I hope that helps. Anybody else have any suggestions?
No, that sounds good.
Does that sound good? Well, we really, really enjoyed this. And Christine said, thank you very much, panelists. She enjoyed it. And but she had to run. And we thank you for being with us, Christine and Andrea. all of you guys, they start talking at the end. And Kelly says, thank you for the reminder again, guys. You guys really, you're opening it up, things, getting them stirred up. And, you know, if you only get one thing out of this, hum. Go outside and hum to yourself. And if you do that, see how you feel when you come back inside. Just see how you feel. You might really enjoy your little humming adventure. So